Isn't it quite surprising that during the bull market, that's when all the news comes out? I mean, preceding to the bear market, the previous bear market that we hope has ended, we're seeing a pre-run or some potential of a bull market. I mean, Bitcoin is above 37,000. Currently, Ethereum has found its way to 2,000. Pick and choose your favorite token. I'm pretty sure it has some percentages of gains. You just quickly go through CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. You see that Solana has gone up a bunch of percentages high up there. Cardano is still trying to find its footing, and this is somehow attributed to BlackRock, a company that holds over $9 trillion in assets, that controls over $9 trillion in assets. They filed for a Bitcoin ETF, and there's also rumors that they're filing for an Ethereum ETF. And then companies like XRP seem to have won their case against the SEC. Sam Bankman-Fried, who ran one of the biggest schemes in the cryptocurrency space, actually was found guilty on 7 counts. So we have all this news. Now, just believe that any kind of news usually comes up during these times. I mean, companies are they're announcing partnerships and so on. So all the news is flooding in at the same time. But one particular piece of news that has caught my attention and I want to look into it, you've all heard of ChainLink, obviously. So if you're running a smart contract on the Ethereum network, somehow you're going to use ChainLink to capture accurate price fit. So you want to capture the accurate price of Ethereum or any other token on the Ethereum network or any other EVM compatible blockchain like Binance Smart Chain or Optimism or Polygon. Chances are that in your smart contract, you might use ChainLink somewhere, somehow to make sure that the prices you're capturing across the whole EVM compatible blockchains is quite accurate, or across the whole blockchain in that sense. So Chainlink is a pretty fundamental aspect of the crypto space. Now, what's interesting is that Chainlink has just announced something called the CCIP, which is the cross-chain interoperable protocol. Now, those that have heard of another platform or ecosystem called Cosmos, they have something that has been running for quite some time now, which is the IBC, the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, which is a decentralized and one of, if not the only robust, now before Chainlink, this was the only robust interoperable framework that exists in crypto. Essentially, you have the Cosmos infrastructure, and then you have all these tokens built using the Cosmos software development kit. And they can all talk to each other if they've implemented the latest version or some version of the IBC. Now, Chainlink has just announced their CCIP, which is the cross-chain interoperable protocol. The idea of this cross-chain protocol is to have a secure interoperable protocol for building cross-chain applications, enabling cross-chain real-world assets, scaling cross-chain ecosystems, connecting private and public blockchains, and enabling token transfers across blockchains. So scaling cross-chain ecosystems. Essentially what they want to do is they want to target institutions like banks, maybe that use the SWIFT system to transfer money across the globe, or banks that have their own conservative structure, way of operation, or even other institutions, or even off-chain data. So off-blockchain, you're doing some real-world data, or you're trying to capture Oracle data of assets in the real world, and you somehow want to use those to leverage, for example, DeFi on a blockchain. So you want to probably bring that onto a blockchain or bring banking services without necessarily having to adopt multiple blockchains. You can bring those services through their CCIP protocol. So essentially, what you want to do, for example, you built your own blockchain as a bank, or there's a blockchain you're loyal to that you want to use for your banking transactions, but at the same time, you don't want to change your internal operations. What you can do essentially is by bringing what you have, your infrastructure, channeling it through the CCIP, and the CCIP will do a DeFi aggregation in the middle and do multiple loops, essentially to talk to other blockchains that might give you what you want. So maybe a particular customer, a certain group of customers from your institutions want to participate through DeFi in another protocol, or maybe use the US dollar as a stablecoin on another blockchain that allows them to capture some returns or some sort like that. Essentially, this will help you channel through the loop. So instead of using a bridge, you get your assets, you tokenize your assets, you transfer them over a bridge of which you have to convert them to a stablecoin, then transfer them over to the next blockchain, which contains the desired cryptocurrency or protocol that you need to use or a DeFi protocol communicate with that smart contract. Instead of doing all that, essentially you just have to communicate with it, give it an instruction, program the smart contract to do whatever, and in the middle it'll perform all those loops. So the whole idea is performing all that within one transaction. And the main purpose of the existence of the CCIP, of the cross-chain interoperable protocol, I mean, it's just in the name, it's really in the name, interoperability, is connecting real-world assets, bringing over financial institutions, so that large money that's not in the crypto space, and also sort of aggregating all that, connecting it to smart contracts and DeFi platforms, and doing all that in one transaction. So it's a pretty big announcement, and when they actually go to their website, you can find out a little bit more information, and also signing up to a mainnet. So I'm not too sure what that means, but when Sergey, the creator of ChainLink, or one of the founders of ChainLink, the way they describe it is that ChainLink itself is not just one blockchain. At least that's not how they think of it. It's like a network of Oracle services. So it's like a way, for example, in Cosmos, when you build different chains using the Cosmos software development kit, you essentially have this thing that we call, you have yourself app chains. So they're called application chains. So that's eerily similar to what was being talked about with ChainLink. So you view ChainLink not just as one linear blockchain, but as multiple oracles that can be customized, built on top of ChainLink, or you can pull already existing oracles that are corresponding to whatever you want to do. So you can do all these things in parallel or in linearity, or whatever you want to do. You can have multiple modular infrastructure running on top of the ChainLink blockchain or ecosystem, giving you price feeds that you'll need to use for real world data, or for DeFi or lending protocols, or maybe transferring one asset from one DeFi platform to another. So essentially that's what ChainLink is, or at least that's how they describe it. So this interoperable standard seems to be its own type of app chain that has a feature that enables interoperability. So obviously I wanted to make this a short video because wrapping your head around some of these things can get quite complex. I'll leave a few links in the description for you to go digging up yourself. But it's one of the reasons why you're seeing ChainLink everywhere. Of course, amongst other reasons, it's almost similar to the previous bull market where you were seeing Cardano everywhere. Still, ChainLink was in the limelight, but it seems like the founders of ChainLink are taking over the spot that Cardano seemed to have had in the previous bull market. And that's because they're actually delivering an actual product. When you go to their website, there's a way you can immediately start building, or even reading about what it is and finding out ways of actually integrating and reaching out to them and finding out how you can leverage the standard. So it's pretty interesting to see that on the Cosmos side of things, we've had a long running interoperable protocol that has been touted and praised by the Cosmos ecosystem, which is the inter-blockchain communication protocol. And now we're seeing a contender through ChainLink that also has their own sort of up-chain thesis structure where you have multiple or modular and ideally decentralized ecosystems running on another ecosystem. So how this can help the whole crypto system is that you don't just have one interoperable standard, for example, in Cosmos, and you wonder how is it going to talk to others. But if you have something in ChainLink, which is very focused around Ethereum virtual machine chains, if this interoperable standard not only communicates with banks and institutions and other crypto assets that are within the Ethereum ecosystem or outside of it, if that plugs into, if there's an intermediary, if there's a way to communicate that or to pair it with the inter-blockchain communication or protocol, it absolutely blows up the whole ecosystem, because not only do you have value communicated seamlessly within Cosmos, but you also have value communicated within the EVM side, and this value is purely communicated between Cosmos and EVM, and then eventually, obviously, this will get plugged into other ecosystems as standards are realized. And this is how I think slowly through these little steps, it's how we'll start to realize an interoperable crypto framework, because it's not going to be one chain that rules them all, but it's going to be multiple chains that do different things, and they have to find a way of talking to each other, including the products that exist onto those chains, like NFTs, like tokenization, and their smart contracts, their platforms. So whatever exists on other chains, there has to be a central way of communication, not just bridges, but the actual value itself can be programmed within that communication, so that an execution that is more sophisticated can be programmed in the initial message that's being sent across a smart contract that's going to be executed across a different chain, that's going to be purely executed on the other side, and not just depending on a third party entity whose job is to just keep track of price of a particular token. But we're talking about actual interoperable standards of smart contracts and external way of looking at things. So traditional finance actually being brought onto the crypto ecosystem, because not too many ideally conservative institutions may be willing to make that move. And of course, the technicality involved is the uncertainty as well is very difficult to figure out. So these are the baby steps that we're taking to figure out how the crypto market can not only bring on traditional finance onto it, which means a lot of capital, a lot more money, but also that nice interoperable standard within the crypto space itself, which means there's a lot more coming in this space. And it's probably why you're seeing ChainLink all over your feeds, because they're making these major announcements. Not only are they already established players in their own right, but they're also making these fundamental announcements, and the crypto space can't wait to see how they develop. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this short video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.